Tonight's story isn't just about betrayal. It's about what happens when trust becomes the perfect weapon. For 18 years, everything seemed normal, loving, safe, predictable. But behind closed doors, in the silence of every night, something unthinkable was happening. Something carefully hidden. Something designed to never be discovered. What would you do if the person you trusted most was living a life you were never meant to see? If every pill, every promise, every quiet moment was part of a lie? In this story, every awakening reveals a darker truth. Every memory hides a missing piece, and every secret leads closer to a shocking revelation that changes everything. Stay with me because this isn't just a story about deception, it's about control, survival, and the moment everything turns into revenge. 18 years passed in a haze of soft nights and heavy mornings, each one blurred by the small white pills placed faithfully beside the bed. Trust made it easy to swallow them without question. Love made it feel safe, or at least that's what had always been believed. Sleep came quickly every night, too quickly. There were mornings filled with strange exhaustion, unexplained bruises, and moments that didn't quite add up. Objects slightly moved, doors left ajar, whispers of something just out of reach. Each concern was met with a gentle smile, a reassuring voice, and the same explanation: stress, aging, imagination. And for years, that explanation was enough. Until one night, the pill was not swallowed. It rested beneath the tongue, then slipped quietly into the trash once the lights went out. Breathing slowed, body stilled, eyes remained shut, but awareness stayed wide awake. Hours passed in silence before the bedroom door creaked open. Footsteps, careful, practiced. The scent of unfamiliar perfume drifted into the room. Through barely parted lashes, a shadow moved confidently through the darkness. The same man who had once promised safety, now unlocking drawers, going through personal things, even lifting a phone and scrolling through it. Then came the whisper, not to the sleeping figure in bed, but into his own phone. A soft laugh, intimate, comfortable, not meant for a wife. Night after night, the truth unfolded. There were calls, secrets, and a second life that existed only in the hours stolen by forced sleep. Conversations about money, about control, about how easy it had been to keep everything hidden, even about the pills. The realization didn't break anything, it sharpened everything. No confrontation came, no tears were offered. Instead, patience took root. Evidence was gathered quietly, piece by piece, just like the lies had been built. Bank records, recordings, hidden messages, every secret carefully preserved. And then, one evening, everything was placed where it could no longer be denied. Not just for him, but for everyone who mattered. The same calm voice that once reassured now trembled under the weight of exposure. The same hands that once controlled everything now shook with fear. Because the nights of silence had finally ended, and the truth never sleeps. For years, the routine never changed. A glass of water, a gentle reminder, a small white pill resting in the palm, offered with quiet care. It was called love. It felt like safety, and every night it was trusted without question. Sleep always came too fast, too deep, like falling into something that didn't allow dreams. There were fragments, though, strange flashes that lingered at the edge of memory, voices echoing in distant rooms, the faint click of doors opening, the sensation of being watched even in unconsciousness. Each time doubt surfaced, it was softened by reassurance. Stress, exhaustion, imagination. The same calm voice, always steady, always convincing. Until one evening, something shifted. The pill sat untouched on the tongue a second too long enough to notice the bitterness wasn't quite the same, long enough for suspicion to finally outweigh trust. That night, it disappeared into the sink instead. The body remained still, the breathing stayed slow, but awareness sharpened in the darkness. Hours passed before movement came. A quiet rustle, a drawer sliding open, the faint glow of a phone lighting up the room. Through the darkness, a familiar figure moved with unsettling confidence, like someone who had done this countless times before. Fingers sifted through personal belongings, pausing at documents, jewelry, anything of value. Then came the whisper, soft, intimate, not meant for the one lying in that bed. Words spilled into the phone, complaints, plans, even laughter, conversations about control, about how easy it had been to keep everything hidden, about money quietly disappearing, accounts shifted, signatures forged while sleep was forced night after night, and worse, about someone else. Every night after that became a performance, the same pill taken, but never swallowed, the same stillness, but with eyes that saw everything. Secrets unraveled slowly, painfully, until there was nothing left to question. But the truth wasn't enough. Silence had been used as a weapon for years. Now it became something else entirely. Records were gathered, calls were saved, transactions traced, every lie carefully preserved, waiting for the right moment to surface. That moment came without warning, not in anger, not in desperation, but with cold, undeniable clarity. The shock on that familiar face, the same one that once promised protection, was almost unrecognizable when everything came crashing down at once. No more whispers, no more shadows, no more control. Because every secret that lived in the dark had finally been dragged into the light. And this time, there was no escaping what had been done. Every morning used to begin with confusion that couldn't be explained, a heaviness in the body, a fog that refused to lift, and small details that felt out of place. Things moved, messages read, decisions made that were never remembered. Each time concern surfaced, it was gently dismissed, wrapped in soft words and patient smiles. It was always made to seem like imagination had gone too far. Trust made it easy to believe that, until the mornings started to feel like warnings instead of accidents. One night, something inside refused to surrender to sleep. The pill stayed hidden, untouched, while the body played its part beneath the covers. Stillness became a disguise, silence became a shield, and for the first time in years, the night revealed what had always been hidden. The sound of footsteps came first, slow, careful, familiar. Then movement, drawers opening, papers shifting, the quiet hum of a phone screen lighting up the dark. Through barely open eyes, the truth took shape. The man once trusted completely moved through the room like a stranger with a purpose, searching, taking, documenting, not protecting, controlling. A whisper broke the silence, low, intimate, and meant for someone else. Words spilled easily, like a rehearsed confession never meant to be heard. There were plans discussed in hushed tones, money being redirected, accounts altered, decisions made behind a forced unconsciousness. Laughter followed, soft and cruel, as if the deception itself had become a shared secret with someone waiting on the other end. That wasn't the only truth uncovered. There were messages, names that had never been mentioned, promises made to someone else while a life at home was carefully manipulated and maintained. a second life, built in the shadows of every forced night of sleep. Each awakening after that peeled back another layer. Nothing was said, nothing was confronted. Instead, every detail was collected with precision. Screenshots saved, calls recorded, documents secured. The same patience once used to trust was now used to expose. The final moment didn't come with shouting or tears. It came with evidence placed where denial couldn't survive. The silence that followed was louder than any argument. The same voice that once controlled every narrative faltered, stripped of its certainty. And for the first time, the truth stood untouched, undeniable, and complete. Because the lies that lived in the dark never expected to be seen in the light. Trust was never given in halves. It was handed over completely. Every routine, every decision, every quiet moment of vulnerability placed into the same hands that promised protection. Over time, that trust became habit, and habit became blindness. Looking back now, every small act of care feels different. The nightly glass of water, the soft insistence on rest, the gentle reminders that exhaustion needed managing. It all felt like love. It was never love. The realization didn't arrive all at once. It came in fragments, subtle inconsistencies, things that didn't belong, choices made without memory. Each concern was carefully dismantled with calm reassurance, turned into self-doubt, then buried. That pattern repeated until questioning anything felt unreasonable, until one night it didn't. The routine played out the same way, but something shifted. The pill never made it past the lips. It disappeared quietly, replaced by stillness and controlled breathing. The body stayed where it was expected to be, silent, unmoving, unaware. But awareness had already returned. The door opened with practiced ease, no hesitation, no fear of being seen. Footsteps crossed the room, steady and confident. The same presence that once brought comfort now carried something colder. Drawers opened. Personal belongings were searched with precision, like someone cataloging ownership rather than sharing a life. Then came the voice, low, intimate, not meant for the one lying just feet away. Words slipped out without caution, plans carefully discussed, money quietly redirected, decisions made in secret. There was laughter, too, not the kind shared in a marriage, but something sharper, almost mocking. Conversations about how simple it had been, how trust had made everything possible. And then, the final fracture. Another name. Spoken with familiarity, with affection. Everything fell into place in that moment. The control, the manipulation, the long nights erased without consent. A life built on lies, sustained by silence. But silence didn't break. It evolved. Days passed as if nothing had changed. The same routines continued, the same trust was performed, but behind it, everything was being rewritten. Records gathered, conversations captured, every secret preserved, waiting. The reckoning didn't need anger, it didn't need confrontation. It only needed truth, placed where it could no longer be hidden or denied. And when that moment came, the confidence disappeared, the control shattered. The same hands that once orchestrated everything were left with nothing to hold on to, because the trust that had been used as a weapon had finally become the evidence that destroyed everything. If this story kept you on edge and made you question everything, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful story of betrayal, secrets, and revenge. There's always another truth waiting to be uncovered, and you won't want to miss what comes next.